Hi guys, how are you doing?
Hi guys, how are you
How's it going, you guys? Good morning. There we go. Okay, so Friday morning. You know what? Yesterday I told you that it was the last day of school yesterday. And good morning, Misty. You know what's super funny? 7 a.m. here my time. I'm like gonna become a morning person, I swear. Um, my kids woke up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, isn't that crazy? Uh, I was like, I'm gonna get up, have an hour to myself. It's gonna be nice and quiet. That didn't happen. Can you let me know if you can hear me okay? I'm outside and there is definitely some traffic here. Um, this is the third part of my Summer Swamp series. And I've got messages popping in here. Here we go. How's it going? What's going on? I want to start this call off with a quick story. And I'm just going to have a quick sip of coffee. Okay, I want to start this call off with a really quick story. So, I actually just realized yesterday inside of my Facebook memories. Don't you guys love Facebook memories when they pop in and show you things that have happened over the last 10 years, really? Very cool. There's a picture that popped up in my memories of the very last photo I took at a salon that I had. I had 3 different salons in my career as a stylist, and this was the second salon that I had. And it was a picture of the view out the window, and it was rush hour on a Thursday evening. And the caption said, "I'm not going to miss this view." And when you look at that picture, I posted it on my Instagram account for Stylist Nation. So if you want to take a look at that, you can. But it's just like jam packed with traffic, and people would sit there in their cars. Sometimes the lights would change like 3 or 4 times before a car would even move. And I remember when I opened up that salon, my goal there was I had previously worked in, well, I owned a different salon that was smaller. There were 4 chairs in there. We were jam packed. We had more stylists than we did chairs. Everybody was booked. There was no room to grow there. And we were also on a street that was like zero traffic. It was like nobody even knew that street existed really until they knew of us, right? So I thought, I want to hire lots of new talent. I want to grow a big team. I want to do lots of things, and we need bigger space to do that. And so we went and we got this huge shop, and we gutted it, and I like bootstrapped that thing. It was insane. It was a huge undertaking, and we lasted there for 2 years. And you know what I learned from that, and I think it's so important for me to say this, is like, I thought because it was high traffic and highly visible, and that it would be like, because it was way more beautiful than any other shop I'd ever been in. It was like my dream salon, right? I thought that that would instantly make my team busier. I thought that would instantly help me to grow my team, just being in high traffic. And you know what? It didn't. It didn't make a difference. When people are stuck in traffic, they're not paying attention to what's around them, really. I want you to think about that. Think about like when you're stuck in traffic, like if you're sitting in a car and you're stuck in traffic, are you even paying attention to what's around you? And even if you take that route every single day, maybe you pay attention even less to what's going on around you. You're so zoned out. You're in a totally different mindset, mind frame of like what, you know, what's for dinner? I need to do laundry. I forgot to call this person back, right? And actually back then people were allowed to have their cell phones. So like people would just be head down looking at their phone. They never looked up. They were like zombies. We also were like right downtown around all these big buildings with like all these business people. And I thought like they would just be looking at us all day wondering like, I wonder if I should book in for a haircut, right? That didn't work. And I really want to relate that to social media for a second and talk about the fact that like, think about when you're scrolling the news feed on Instagram or on Facebook It's like being in traffic. It is traffic. It's traffic that we buy. It's traffic that we bid for, right? Um, and so we need to stand out and we need to be different. Now, the other thing, and this is a really good segue into my part 3 of the Summer Swamp series, is if you're a salon owner or if you're working for somebody who owns a salon, if you work with a team, I want you to think about this. Back in the day, like when I first started doing hair, it was most definitely my responsibility to build my own business, right? My boss was very open about the fact that, like, you need to go out and build your own business. I feel like things have changed, and I feel like that's not true. I feel like if you own a salon, and feel free to share this. Feel free to share this with somebody that owns a salon or somebody that works for a salon owner, anybody who's a stylist or a salon owner, because I think that this is going to be really helpful. If you're really swamped as a salon owner, it is still your responsibility to do things to help your team grow. It is still your responsibility to provide a great environment online and off for new clients to come. It is not up to your team. And actually, when I had that space, there were so many days where my team wouldn't be booked and I would be like, hey, go hand out cards downtown. Like, go pound the pavement, right? Let me know in the comments if you ever had somebody tell you to go do that. Like, what does it even mean? Like, that's great. Go hand out cards. And I'd be like, go hand these things out, or go do this thing, or go do that thing. But that didn't really work. How can you stand out, and what can you do that's different that will work? And then the other thing is, then on the flip side, when you don't own the salon and you are relying on somebody else to build your business, that's kind of a mistake too. We need to meet somewhere in the middle, right? Like, we need to meet somewhere in the middle where, yeah, you could maybe ask your team to go out and do something, but what can you do then that will really stand out? Can they go out and start conversations with people? And until I started telling them certain ways to go about it, until I started saying, like, you can walk up to somebody downtown and say, hey, I really love your jacket, or hey, I really love your this, or go into a coffee shop and talk to somebody that works there and be like, I really love the way that you make coffee. I really love, like, the passion and the energy in here. And that will open up a real conversation, right? Versus just walking into somewhere and being like, oh, hey, did you know that I've got a salon? I work at a salon down the street, and, like, here's my card. That doesn't do anything. And I don't know if it ever did, but these days it definitely doesn't do anything anymore. People need more from us. They need to have a real connection with us, right? They need to have what I like to talk about is affinity, but affinity is basically, like, that connection, that relatable thing that we have with our clients when they come in and sit in our chair. Those things that we come up with that we're like, oh my gosh, me too. Oh my gosh, me too. Those things, those are the things that stop traffic, right? Those are the things that stand out. I mean, there were so many times at that salon that was super high traffic. There was one time where I decided it would be a really great idea to do a 24-hour cut-a-thon. And so we made signs and we were like, free haircuts for 24 hours. And we stood out on the street in that traffic, and it still didn't bring people in. Until we started educating people on why we were raising money and what our cause was, what we believed, what our values were, what we were aligning with, that's when people started kind of perking up, because then that's relatable, right? So for today, I just wanted to jump in and talk about that and just say, like, traffic online is busy. Traffic on Instagram is busy. Pictures of hair don't work. So if you own a shop, stop telling your team to, like, post pictures of their work and that's it. We need to create a conversation. We need to create a connection, right? We need to start a conversation. And also when we're out and about and we're trying to build our business, it's really important to create that conversation, right? And the other thing is that I think that there needs to be this balance between the owner of a shop and the team that works there, right? We need to work together versus like, I'm so busy, how come you're not? Go and do something. I think that it's important to have like weekly team meetings and come up with fun ideas that you can go out and create connections and create emotion and really show and share what your shop is about that makes you different from everybody else. That is what counts. Once I shut that, and it was legit this weekend to the day 6 years ago that we like closed the doors to that salon, ripped it apart, took everything out, and then we moved into a new shop that I built. The new salon that we built was super hidden away. Again, like nobody would be able to find it unless they knew where it was. And we thrived there. And it was because we went out into the community and we became a part of the community. And we did things like, you know, we were a part of like parades. We were part of festivals. We put in tables at like universities. We always aligned with other organizations. We did a lot of fashion shows. We did a lot of stuff as a team. So even if you're renting a booth, even if, you know, no matter where you're at, is there a way that you can work with your team together to come up with some fun ways that you can build awareness and build that online conversation or offline conversation together, versus if you're really swamped as an owner of a shop, take some time out and work with your team and help them grow. Take some time out, and you know, it's one thing to take a cutting class or to do things like that. Take some time to meet once a week and be like, who were your favorite clients this week? You know, what are some similarities between those people? What do they all have in common? What are some conversations that you had this week that were amazing behind your chair? And how can we create that same feeling for people that haven't met us yet? You know, how can we show up and be different and stand out? Because that is what's important. And so I know we're heading into summer here, and I want to make sure that I think it's really easy to sometimes be like, well, it's summer, it's going to slow down. We'll wait till fall. I was talking to a client on the phone yesterday about this, who owns a yoga studio. It's like a hot yoga studio. And it's like, obviously summertime just slows down. That's just what they think. That's just what they automatically, it's like, well, it gets slow. So maybe we'll just wait and we'll ramp up in September. And I kind of said to her, like, hang on, what came first here? Like, the chicken or the egg, okay? Like, what, did we all just decide that it's going to slow down and so then we're just going to slack off for the summer? Or can we do some things throughout the summer to attract a certain type of personality? There's still people that need their hair done. There's still people that work out in the summer. There's still people that do that, but maybe it's different. It's a different type of personality, maybe. Maybe it's a different type of service. Maybe it's just a different way of looking at things. And another thing that I said to her was, if you just let it slide for the summer, how will your team be able to hang on? Like, that hurts them, not only financially, like, because obviously if you're slower, you're not making as much money, right? Your team is less engaged. They feel less inspired, less creative, less energetic, less motivated, right? You can't just clean all summer, right? Like, I look at things in such a different way now than what I did 6 years ago. And so that was my goal kind of for this call, for this part of the Summer Swamp series, was like, if you're super, super booked, if you're super slammed, super swamped, please just still take the time out to have chats with your team, to like really come up with a plan together. I think it's way more powerful if you can work together as a team and come up with some fun ideas and fun things that you can do throughout the summer? Are there like summer festivals that you can go and be a part of? Just go together as a group and dance there together. You know, that just shows your culture, and it raises awareness for who you are and where you work and where you're from and what you do, right? Is there an organization that's putting on any type of a fundraiser that you guys could get on board with? Like, there's things still happening in the summer, so don't just sit back and be like, yeah, well, everybody's at the beach, everybody's busy, I'll just wait till fall. You don't have to. And the other thing is if you don't feel like you're in an environment like that, or if you don't feel like your team is on board for things like that, then it's okay to start showing up differently, and the next best thing will show up for you. So if you're working somewhere and you don't feel like you're supported in this way, if you're working somewhere and the rest of the people that work with you aren't on board for like doing something bigger and better, then maybe it is time to pivot, just like I did 6 years ago. Maybe it is time for a change and to move on. There's never, what is the worst that can happen, right? If you just start showing up and thinking of things in a different way, and just remembering that we're day makers, and so I don't think that just because it's summer that should slow down, right? So I don't know, hopefully that's helpful. I know that usually like a Friday before a long weekend, it's Canada Day weekend here in Canada. And so you might be really super busy today. But if you do catch me on the replay, let me know your thoughts down below. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if you like these videos, if you have any topics or questions that you want me to touch on, because I am planning on continuing this series. I think it's fun to jump on and start my day this way. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your day, and go be a day maker, man. Go stand out in crowded traffic. Like, think about even just like a funny post that you can put into your Instagram, on your Instagram feed, that will stand out and stop traffic, right? Stand out and stop traffic. Start a conversation. Build a relationship. It doesn't work when you're just like, hey, last minute opening, or hey, here's a hair pick. What is something that you can put out there that really shows your personality and will just stand out and stop traffic? Because doesn't matter where you are, like, you can change your career tomorrow if you want to. But relying on the owner of your shop to do that for you, or relying on your team to build on their own, it does not work. You need to work together if you're working with a team. Good morning, David. If you're on your own, what can you do today that will just stand out and stop traffic, right? Like, that was the most frustrating thing for me, having that shop, was like, I was spending so much money just on the rent and the lease and the bills and like this big thing where like all the photo shoots and all the things and all the fancy pictures and all the big billboards and all of that stuff. That didn't work, you guys. That didn't work. Until we started getting out there and like building a relationship with other businesses, other people, until I sat down with my team and really started coming up with plans and fun ideas and getting them on board, things didn't change. It was just like, I don't know. It's kind of busy today. What's it going to be like tomorrow? And when you're not busy, you lose interest, right? So if you are on your own and you are super swamped, then I want to leave you with this. I really want you to like take a look at how far ahead are you booked? Do you have room in your schedule for one new client in the next few weeks? Because that is what lights us up, and that's what makes us or helps us remember why we love what we're doing, right? Let me know if you agree with that. I just think that what can we do to make space for something new, something exciting in the next few weeks in our schedule, in our shop, in our life? Like, what are some things that we can do to shake things up? Because it's really easy just to get kind of stuck in the grind a little bit and just kind of do the same things over and over and over and over and over again, which again is a lot like being stuck in traffic, right? It's kind of mindless after a while. So I hope that this inspires you in some way. Thank you for sharing a few minutes of your morning with me. I love you all. And for you Canadians out there, happy Canada Day. And I will be back on Monday at 7 a.m. PST for another quick Summer Swamped series video. Okay, bye guys.